so for that last night, I watched. I got emotional, dog.
Most specifically,
I ain't gonna front, man.
The owner of the Charlotte Hornets, Michael Jordan, yes, Michael Jordan, gave a little video speech.
Yeah.
And to understand the relationship between the two of them, ever since Jordan's retirement, Kobe got his number as soon as he could. And Kobe's called him almost every year for some sort of advice. Whether it's in life, in basketball, in sports in general, how to deal with your manager, how to deal with...
They keep in touch quite often. That's cool. I like that.
So, yeah, and he mentioned that in the video that they keep in touch. It's true. You know, they say Shaq and Kobe call each other once a day nowadays. It's true. And it's the same thing with Michael Jordan. They talk every once in a while. It's that whole mentor situation. Right. And now, as Kobe's getting ready for his retirement, he's talking to Michael Jordan about that.
I see.
So,
for Kobe, I see.
The video that was put out by Michael Jordan was
he's just gonna go.
It was incredible. It was an awesome video.
That was cool.
And I was so happy that Jordan did it.
And I'm not the biggest Jordan fan, you know. But I'll tell you what, that was classy. That was very classy, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could tell it wasn't, you know what I mean? Now you can tell the way
Mike almost teared up.
Yeah, that's what I was. Mike looked like he was about to, you know what I mean? That was genuine. That was awesome.
That came from the heart.
Yeah.
And I've always said I've never really been a Jordan fan completely, but I do acknowledge him as the best player that ever played the game.
Absolutely.
And to Kobe's respect, he has as well. Kobe was asked who would be on his all-time starting five, and a lot of people were surprised by the fact that he did not put himself on his all-time starting five. And he simply said, "It's Jordan." Like,
right.
And the fact, I mean, Kobe wouldn't have said that 5-10 years ago. The fact that Kobe can say that now is pretty cool. You know, because he's enjoying these last games.
Oh yeah,
And
he had a good game too.
He's really very zen about it.
Yeah.
You know, he got, you know, he was lucky to really be coached by Phil Jackson for very long, because, you know, Jackson as a coach, he teaches his players how to meditate. Some people don't know that. He teaches his players how to pray before a game. And it gets them in that whole Zen shit. That's where they, you know, and you can see that now with Kobe getting ready to retire. And there's one thing I want to mention about this. But with Kobe getting ready to retire, you can see almost this piece about him where it's like, yeah, he wants to go out and beat his opponents and play as hard as he can. He knows that this team ain't very good.
Yeah.
So he's enjoying himself. But one thing I want to mention real quick, everybody remembers the 2 years that MJ played for the Wizards. Some people wish they wouldn't.
Yeah.
But
me included.
that last year, I think it was 2002, Michael Jordan got voted into the All-Star game. He was, to me, still the best player on that team. Rick Hamilton was there. He was
Vince Carter.
He was still kind of young.
I think Vince Carter stepped down and Mike took his place.
So yeah, this is where I'm going with this. Michael Jordan got voted onto the All-Star team. He wasn't voted in as a starter. Vince Carter was approached right before the All-Star game and was asked if he would step down as a starter so that Michael Jordan could be the starter in his very last All-Star game, which he deserved to be because he's the greatest of all time. Of course, you know, when you ask somebody to do that, it's really hard to turn them down. I know Vince Carter was kind of salty about it, and I think he was rightfully so, because we haven't seen a whole lot of Vince Carter All-Star games since. But, you know, the fact that Michael Jordan, not necessarily Michael Jordan himself, but his camp had to ask Vince Carter for that starting spot. Kobe doesn't have to do that. Kobe has surpassed LeBron, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Garnett combined in the All-Star voting, which he's not that great this year. And as a Lakers fan, I could admit that. But it's showing that everybody around the world truly appreciates what Kobe brought, because Kobe brought everything to this game.
Right.
And I think that the one thing that kind of hurt Michael was he retired twice. This is his third time retiring. We didn't know. Maybe he was going to come back again. You know, Kobe never quit. He played, you know, he snapped bones back into place and got back out there. And something is appreciated about that, because as a Lakers fan, I know people who hated the Lakers just to hate the Lakers. Mm-hmm. This dude being one of them.
Hey, I never was a Lakers fan.
You know, I know people who rooted against the Lakers in the finals because they didn't like the Lakers, which is okay. It's sports. There's no problem with that.
I love Magic Johnson.
When Kobe found out that he got all these votes, he said,
I love Shaq.
People actually like me this year. He actually, you know, he looked back and he said, yo, this is the first year I think that, like, people like me. Because usually he's the villain. He's the guy.
Right. You know what? This is one thing I appreciate.
He's the dude that's going to come into your crib and take your shit.
Right.
Not this year. Everybody's cool with him this year.
When Kobe's championships, this is what I appreciate about it. They're all back to back.
Oh, yeah.
3 in a row with Shaq. 2 in a row without Shaq. That says a lot.
Yeah.
That really does say a lot.
Back-to-back titles,
you know,
are hard to do.
You know,
and I mean, Spurs have shown it. They got 5 titles. None of them are back-to-back. They're all within 2 or 3 years of each other. But yeah, I wish they could have got that 3-peat again, just so that Phil Jackson could have left with 4 3-peats. Like, that would have been cool. You know, dude's got 11 rings. That's enough. But that would, you know, just to be like, this dude is the master of the 3-peat. Other than that, you know,
my brother hates Phil Jackson.
I don't know why.
Well, and now you have to agree though. He goes to ready-made teams. You know, when they say greatest coaches, you know, and you have to agree. You know, my brother Larry Brown took something or nothing to make him something. You know.
Well, my whole thing is,
hey, you can't knock the man's championship.
He inherited these teams. He did it. He certainly inherited these teams. But when he came back to the Lakers, it wasn't looking so good. They were beat up. They were losing every year, first round of the playoffs. The best acquisition they made that year was getting Phil Jackson as their coach. My whole thing is this. The starting lineup from the team that Phil Jackson inherited was the same as the starting lineup from the year before, and they didn't do so good. With Shaq, A.C. Green, Glenn Rice, Derek Fisher, Kobe, I can name them all. And that starting lineup was the same the year before, and they didn't do so well. They made it to the playoffs. It was like the number 6 seed. They lost in the first round to the Spurs. They got beat down. It was a sweep. They got swept by the Spurs. So, the turnaround, I mean, everybody knew Shaq was the best center in the league. Kobe's got great potential. A.C. Green was an OG. A.C. Green, man, one of my favorite stats, I tell people all the time, like most people don't realize that A.C. Green was like the only Laker player that was with the Lakers during the Magic Johnson era and stayed with them until Shaq and Kobe. Like, so, and I can talk about this shit all day. I'm really not trying to. But yeah, I mean, say what you want to say about there was a lot of people talking shit about Kristaps Porzingis. I was one of them dudes that was like, yo, most people were talking shit about him because most people didn't get to see him play.
I laughed. I mean, shame on me.
Yeah.
My teammate shit.
This dude is a baller.
Yo.
And I was one of them dudes that's like, yo, I wish we would have got him.
I put him in a rhyme.
That's the dude I wanted.
Last week.
That's the dude I wanted was Kristaps Porzingis. Because I love basketball. Basketball is my media love, like, overall. Like, when it comes to rap, that's you. When it comes to basketball, that's my shit. And I do watch some European-ass basketball. I watch WNBA. I watch every fucking thing. If it's basketball, I watch it. You know, and so when I heard that these dudes was drafting these dudes, I knew people was going to be mad because people didn't know who the fuck he was. But this dude has some potential, and I was quick to be like, hey, you know, say what you want to say about this dude. Soon, motherfuckers are going to be singing songs about him. And now there's a song about him. That Kristaps Porzingis. They made a song about the dude, man. To advertise for Knicks games.
I put him in a rhyme.
Right now, You don't hear a whole lot about Carmelo.
Who?
Carmelo.
Oh, Lala's husband?
Yeah.
Oh.
You ain't hearing so much. When the Knicks are advertised on TV, look who they show. They're showing their rookie ass, Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And anybody that says, I know there's a lot of Knicks fans biting their tongues because it's like that dude.
Hey, man, I ain't no Knicks fan.
Most people seen that draft and were mad, and you told me your brother was pissed.
Oh,
I'm like,
he's a Knicks.
the first thing I said was, dude, man.
He's a Knicks.
Just wait on this dude, just a little bit. He's gonna be like the next Paul Gasol.
Check this shit out.
He's
man.
good.
Motherfuckers hitting them shots. That's a big motherfucker, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
It's
once they get to playing, once they get to playing in order,
dirt.
You know,
could hit from long range. Paul Gasol could hit from medium range.
I haven't seen him play. Like, I can't really say anything about his toughness. Being that
it'll
big,
get there.
And, you know, I haven't seen him.
It'll get there.
You know, I hope he's aggressive. Fuck that.
Most dudes from Europe, because they're taught to be a little bit more polite.
Yeah.
They're not taught to hold someone down and cut their throat open.
You cut it open, man. Fuck that.
They're not taught that shit. They're not taught to step on someone's
I'm talking about Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace.
One of the nicest dudes that ever came to the NBA was Yao Ming.
You know,
because he came from a place where you play with honor. You honor your opponent. Here, opponents aren't trying to honor you.
Fuck that.
So, yeah, I mean,
watch some. You know what, young boy? Watch some old Piston games.
That's
man.
That's
what you do.
I mean,
bad boy era.
Now with today's rules, don't go there.
Nah, fuck that. Go there. I'm not saying do it, but there's a way to do it, man.
Watch.
There's a way to do it. Motherfucker, you hit a motherfucker in the mouth real good, guess what? See this shit right here? Takes it right out their chest. Trust me. Trust me.
Watch some Hakeem Olajuwon. Watch some Kareem. And you're good.
And then watch the Detroit Pistons, man. Bad boy era. Isaiah and Lambeer, fuck that, man.
They were questioning whether or not these Golden State Warriors could beat the 98 Bulls.
Man, fuck all that shit, man. They gonna beat a motherfucker 2015, 2016. Goddamn Golden State, man.
It depends on whose rules they're going by. Because if they're going by the rules back in the 90s, these Golden State Warriors ain't making it off the court. Sorry, but they're fucking skinny. Small ball wasn't words that was used back in the 90s. So
and that Bulls team, there was some big boys in there.
Yeah,
the smallest motherfuckers was like Paxton.
They say that
Kerr.
The Chicago Bulls were kind of the first team to have like a small ball lineup. Yeah. Because on most teams, Scottie Pippen would have been a guard, and on this team, he was a small forward. But they were physical. It was in the 90s when you had to play against Detroit. You know, they had to beat Detroit a lot in the playoffs.
Check this shit out. And Chicago, they stood up to the motherfuckers too.
Hell yeah.
They stood up to the Pistons, man.
It was boxing matches.
You know what I'm saying?
It was boxing matches.
Shit, Michael wasn't, motherfucker, you ain't, you know what I mean? Shit. That's the thing, they got in your head. That's my whole point.
The Pacers was another one.
That's my whole point.
Gritty ass teams. There was just so many from the 90s, and I'm like, man. I mean, if they're playing with the rules from today, I still think that the Bulls got them with this you can't touch a dude rules. I still think they still got them. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do believe that to a certain extent, by today's standards, Steph Curry is unguardable. If he's hitting shots, he's unguardable. But I can think of one cat that I can think could guard him, and that would be Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman would be all in his day.
Ruin
his day. He might ruin his day, man.
Yeah. Dennis Rodman would lock his ass.
See, that's what I'm saying. Dennis Rodman don't give a fuck.
No, that's it.
And where did Dennis Rodman come from?
Yeah.
Huh? The motherfucking Pistons, yes. Yeah, point, nigga. Thank you. I'll be here all motherfucking week.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
They said that dude wasn't even the craziest player on that team.
He wasn't. But you know what?
Tame guy.
You know what?
He took that shit.
He took that shit.
He made that shit
towards the end of them Piston years. On to
today.
He go to Spurs. And then on to motherfucking Chicago. Remember cameraman? Remember that motherfucker?
Look up Dennis Rodman in his current state and time right now. There's a picture of him that looks this is gonna be the craziest shit you've ever seen in your life. I guarantee it. I don't know for a fact, but goddamn, Dennis Rodman is a fucking character. I mean, to me, you can't hate the dude.
No, fuck no. See, that's another motherfucker right there.
The cross-dressing thing, I think.
That's another motherfucker right there that hustled.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's all it was, too.
Hey, he knew what the fuck he was doing.
That's the show.